because I think there's been a spot missing. I thought about that a lot when the Bob Marley movie came out recently. Of who's that Jamaican artist who can technically capitalize on all the influence that Jamaica has. And Popcorn, I don't think really is that. Shaggy, well past his prime. Sean Paul has a whole different haircut these days. So the actual answer really should be Vybz Kartell.
Welcome, everybody. It's Soundbites, a part of the Album Mode podcast, where we're talking about the music, the culture, and the internet, and how those three things intertwine to create the music culture that we have today. My name is DeMar Grant, a.k.a. King Grant, a.k.a. The Bunny. And I'm here joined by my esteemed co-host, co-creator, Adriel Smiley, a.k.a. AdrielSmiley.com, a.k.a. The Godfather, a.k.a. Mr. Smiley. And Adriel, we are back. And we're talking about one of the things that are most important to us, TikTok.
Yes. It's a crazy sentence, but yes.
TikTok is here, and it may not be in a couple of months.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone's seen it by now that TikTok may be banned. They're saying it's 6 months that China has. Well, I like how they're putting it on China. That's right. I think that's part of the politics of this ban. But basically, the app's owner, Byte Dance, is beholden to the Chinese government, and they would like the app to be owned by an American company.
Right.
That's basically all it comes down to. It's not their first time trying to do this, but this bill puts it in legal motion. Yeah. So that's why this bill is so significant. The 6 months that they're kind of being given to do this, a lot of political people are saying that's more of a suggestion, and it may go longer than that. But what do you think about this whole, TikTok may be gone in the next 6 months type of deal?
Well, I think there's multiple levels. It's just like a social media level, but I do think that it's on a political level. On a political level, it's the U.S. trying to strong-arm China into selling one of its most profitable assets.
The audacity.
Yeah, it's like, could you imagine if China's like, if you don't sell Facebook to a Chinese company, we're just blocking it, right? Or even if somewhere in France did some shit like that, it would be crazy, right? So because America is a superpower, right? And it has already is an owner of multiple social media networks. There's a quote unquote security threat to America that a company from a different country owns such a prolific social media platform, right? So they're like, the American government, its sentiment is, we do not want our citizens giving up all of this data and diagnostics and shit about their phones and who they are to a foreign country that we are technically allies with, but really at odds with when it comes to pretty much everything that is going on in geopolitics.
Yeah.
Really,
yeah.
I can't believe I'm really talking about geopolitics on our podcast right now.
That's where TikTok has got us.
But that's basically the essence of it, because there's a geopolitical information war, economic war that is happening on top of TikTok. It just so happens to be that TikTok is owned by China. If it was Facebook was owned by China, Twitter was owned by China, any social media platform was owned by China, we're having the exact same conversation as we are having right now about that platform. It just so happens to be TikTok.
Exactly.
That we're having this conversation around, but it's really about everything else that I just mentioned that America does not want China to have access to.
I think it's an especially American issue because of America's relationship with social media as well. Everyone knows this. The Chinese version of TikTok is not the same one we see.
Exactly.
And that goes for most social media. So I think that's a big part of it that America is trying to sell to their people of, isn't that weird that we have a different TikTok? Like, that shouldn't be the way it is. So that's a big part of it. And as well, I think that, 175 million people, American people on TikTok, that's what, half the country on this one app. How many of those people are making their living from TikTok? So I think this is kind of big implications. But to me, it's the audacity of the ask. It's just the audacity that who does America think they are to even ask that? Now, I want someone in the comments who is more familiar with the Chinese government to let me know, how do we think they're going to take it? I think that they're not happy about this from the comments that I've seen.
Yeah.
So I don't think this is gonna happen, but I don't think that the American government truly wants to ban TikTok. A lot of that has been said in the House specifically. Nancy Pelosi has said that in particular. So I don't think that they actually want this banned, but I don't think China's gonna back down. So
Yeah, so we're gonna be at odds. I mean, the bill is still not signed. Like Joe Biden still has to sign the bill, right? So,
but he said he will. That's the main part I think I want to stress is he said he will. He did say if it gets that far to make it to his desk, he will sign it. So
we might be on a collision course. Whether or not this is like a large deal for the music industry is also a thing, because so much of the past, I want to say 5 years, which is crazy to say out loud, but the past 5 years from 2019 till now.
Wow, yeah.
Music has basically orbited TikTok. It's actually been music is orbiting TikTok in a way. It's like which artists pop, which songs pop, which songs get the viral dance, right? You can be a nobody. You could be like a PP Cocaine. You're a nobody.
Yeah.
Yes, one song pop, people know PP Cocaine.
Yeah.
Right? And then there's even the song by what is it, Dijo, right now?
Oh, yeah.
The guy, like 90% of the people that play that song didn't even know that the guy who plays Steve Harrington from Stranger Things, that's his band.
And that's TikTok.
Right? So only TikTok is really able currently is the only social media platform that's capable of like doing that for a career, for an artist, for a song, right? So it being banned or not existing kind of just like breaks that chain for music, where like discovery is would just become harder.
And I also think that although Instagram Reels has really copied TikTok, we can be real 100%
Same with YouTube
copied.
Shorts.
YouTube Shorts. I think the TikTok algorithm is still unique, at least for these American apps, because it is very SoundCloud-like, where 1 second I'm on someone who has 1 million followers, and the next second I'm the first person to see this video. And I think that is what makes the discovery so great in terms of music. Is like I found an artist on TikTok recently, thought they were cool. I was like, oh, you see their brother and sister? Oh, that's so cool. Played them on my radio show, looked them up. They're signed to Rock Nation. Had no clue. And that's kind of the power of TikTok, where a signed group, they can reach little old me through the power of TikTok. So I think for music, it's going to change a lot. But I ultimately don't think it's going to happen, if I'm being honest. I don't think it's going down.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm surprised by that. I think there is definitely a political push behind this to get it banned. And there's not a lot. I think that there's definitely there's creators and stuff like that who don't want it banned, obviously.
Yeah.
Because that TikTok, we're talking about just the music aspect. You're a lifestyle person on TikTok, you like architecture, you're good at editing video.
Yeah.
Like all of these extra elements to TikTok have been making people like validating, like starting a career in that form.
Yeah.
Right? If you were not a YouTuber, you could be a TikToker and then flip it into being a YouTuber, right? Or you can do what we were just talking about. You can flip your TikTok song into becoming a career, like Pink Panthers.
Yes.
Fucking Pink Panthers.
Yeah.
Okay?
Luna Lee too.
Right? Luna Lee, right? So there's more than just the music aspect, right? And there's also there's more of like an information war type of thing happening to TikTok versus just like, oh, what about the music, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, you're watching two superpowers like politically battle each other over a piece of technology.
And I think China's going to win. That's kind of why I think it's not going to happen. Is this is not the first time that this request has been made.
Right.
I think this is the most official the request has been made. But this request has been made before. And this is, like you whisper in someone's ear, tell someone, hey, do you think DeMar could maybe not do this next time? This is the email that everyone CC'd on. That's what this is. So I think if China can politely decline them for the past months and years, I think this is not going to change that personally. But I'm interested to see how that goes, because this is a public declaration the U.S. has made of we want this to change, we want this to be different. And I think too, I don't know why the U.S. thinks they're so trustworthy with our information. or the maybe it's their people, so they should have the information.
Yeah.
Maybe that's their case, but the U.S. has plenty of experience in breaking their people's trust.
And also just like information leaking out of literally, you get who doesn't get an email like every 2 weeks being like, X company has had a data leak, your password has been leaked.
Come on.
Make sure you change your password. Like that's literally I don't even think that it's like it's not even scandalous anymore. That's how frequently
It's normal,
it happens.
yeah.
Right? So an American company owning TikTok is not going to protect your data in the way that they're trying to make it seem like it would.
I think the last thing I'll say is that a lot of the way this is being reported, and for all my Americans watching, y'all know how you have two different sides when it comes to reporting. A lot of it is the idea that this information is going to affect the election. And what people see on TikTok will affect the way they vote. Now,
that was already happening.
That was already happening
on every social media platform that you're also on.
Every social media platform, tell it. And as well, I do think that pointing the finger at China is such a, I know you are, but what am I type of move, because that's every social media. And I don't think the TikTok audience in particular is the audience that you're really worried about politically. But I think it's interesting that that's the case that's being made. I wonder how much this will kind of play in the election is my next question is, are we going to see, well, I don't know if we're even getting the Joe and DT debate.
Yeah.
But if we do get a Joe and DT debate, will this be one of the topics? I would love to see two 80-year-old white men try and talk about TikTok.
And 20-year-old people using TikTok.
Like, how are we not excited for that part at least? I'm excited to see what references they draw from TikTok, because I think this will be a talking point during the campaign. Now we're using words like campaign on the Album Mode podcast. But I do think it will be a topic that comes up where I wonder which TikToker Joe Biden is going to reference as a reason to keep TikTok, and same for DT. So that's what I'm here for. I'm here for the shenanigans, because I ultimately don't think it's going to happen. I think this may seem small for some people of, it's just social media. Who cares? Just let someone else own the company. China doesn't give me a week. Yeah. So I think they're not going to take lightly to this audacious request.
Yeah. So for music, I think that it'll also, if it does disappear, it'll be interesting to see how music also morphs, because we've been talking about like songs being good for TikTok. There's been like a TikTokification of music, blah blah blah. So if it doesn't exist, what happens to music then? Do the songs get longer? Do the hooks become less literal? Like we were mentioning on the Flo Milli album review, do they become less literal? Like what exactly switches up for the music, just for the music, the songs particularly? What changes if it doesn't exist?
I think the shortness of songs was something that predated TikTok. So I think that will not change, just because that's part of why the 2-pack became a thing. Yeah. Was if my song is only 90 seconds long, you can replay it twice in 3 minutes, and that's double the streams. So I think that is going to stay the same. But I think in terms of music, the strategy of how to get poppin', because we talked about when Universal left TikTok, their little divorce they had, how some artists kind of had to rethink their whole strategy. I think that's going to be the same with TikTok, because I think there is a group of artists who TikTok is where they live. They're barely on YouTube, barely on Instagram, but TikTok is where they live. So my question is where those people are going to go. If you had to guess between YouTube and Instagram or where those people go, what would you think is the majority? If
you're a musician, you're probably going to bounce to Instagram. If you're a person who is like vlogging or making like content to like the video content, you got to make the shift to YouTube, I think. Like you either got to make the jump to YouTube and making longer content, or if you're going to keep it as short, then you move to Instagram. You have to bite the bullet and go back to Instagram. It's a go back too. Like
spin the block on Instagram. Yeah.
We all fled Instagram purposely for a reason. Yes. Okay. And now if this happens, people are gonna have to go back. I don't want to go back.
I hope, even though I do use Instagram a lot, I hope that TikTok doesn't die, because TikTok is over Instagram for me. In the social media rankings, Instagram not on the podium for me. I would say Twitter number 1 for me, then TikTok, then YouTube, then Reddit, and then Instagram.
Oh, okay. You're including Reddit. Yeah, I think you know what? For me, it's like TikTok, 1, and then Reddit, number 2.
Mhm.
My people don't know this, but the homepage to my like computer, my laptop, is Reddit / RMBA.
Yeah.
So I am definitely on Reddit, but I'm
Mhm.
definitely like a TikTok first person, I think,
Mhm.
and then maybe unfortunately Twitter. Like I'm trying to.
You don't like Twitter anymore?
I'm trying to derank Twitter from my life.
I love Twitter.
Yeah, I'm out on Twitter.
I used to hate the FYP page, and I'm starting to love it now.
Yeah, I've gone back and forth, but I'm like now there was a sequence of events on Twitter where it was just making me so upset. Where I'm just like, you know what, I'm just out.
Fair.
It was the first time I deleted the app off my phone.
Wow, I do remember this happening.
I deleted the bookmark in my.
Oh wow, on your list.
It's actually, but it's just straight gone now. Like
you didn't even bring it back.
Nope. I have to type in Twitter every time on my laptop.
I still have X as my little one of my little bookmarks. It's one of my home pages. But before we get into the real meat of sound bites, because there's some big news. I loved Twitter for that day where all the men were holding their babies.
Oh yeah, in different ways. That was funny.
Yeah, that's a Twitter thing that you'll never find somewhere else. That's what Twitter is for. So still love Twitter for that. But we had some great news or some bad news depending on where you lie.
Yeah,
tell us about it.
All right, so Jamaican artist, Jamaican dancehall star, superstar, Vybz Kartell has won an appeal over his murder conviction. So this guy, Vybz Kartell, Jamaican superstar, as I mentioned, he is basically, I want to say maybe like the Drake or Jay-Z of dancehall music.
Yeah.
You said Drake, but I'm like, maybe it's closer to Jay-Z. I don't know.
He has the longevity of a Jay-Z.
Yeah.
But the hits of a Drake.
Right. So he was basically, the best way to describe it is he was convicted of murder for, or he was convicted, I don't know if it was murder.
Murder, yes.
Yeah, it was murder over one of his associates, that the article likes to say. Over his associate, Clive Lizard. Clive, first of all, one of the most Jamaican names. Clive.
Clive is one of the most Jamaican names.
Yeah, it's up there with like a Leroy.
And a Winston.
Yeah.
and a Delroy.
Yeah, like Clive is up there. Clive Lizard Williams, whose body was never recovered, which is crazy.
Yep.
Jamaica's a small island, people. So after a 64-day trial in Kingston, which was again one of the longest in Jamaican history, he was convicted with I think 2 or 3 other people.
Yeah.
In 2014. So and he was supposed to get life in jail, but then he recently mounted an appeal, and they actually won that appeal.
Yep.
So now, who knows what's gonna happen is everybody's question. Now what's gonna happen? Is he getting out? Is he staying in? Right? The lawyers basically argued that there was a trial, like the trial was like mishandled, right? Like basically like a mistrial.
Yeah.
And allegations, like allegedly. I want to say allegedly for the sequence. Allegedly, one of the jurors was offered 500,000 Jamaican dollars, which is $3,000 American, to fellow jurors to not return guilty verdicts, right? So there was this whole like sequence of somebody was getting bribed, or were they not getting bribed? Did he actually kill that person? We never seen the body. A lot of moving parts that nobody knows about. And now we're even at the point now where this appeal has happened. They won the appeal, right? And they've sent the case to the appeal court, and they're deciding whether or not they should stand trial again. Nobody knows if he's even standing trial again. Nobody knows what's going to happen now.
Yes.
So this is where we are with Vybz Kartell. Are you happy he's getting out? Allegedly, maybe, possibly.
One last thing.
Okay.
The court of Jamaica is going to decide whether he gets out.
Okay.
So it's up to them to decide whether they're gonna redo the trial.
Yeah.
Or he'll just get out.
It's basically their Supreme Court.
Yeah, their version of the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm happy he's gonna get out.
Yeah,
I hope he's gonna get out.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Vybz Kartell, man. Like, I don't know. Like, Vybz Kartell, for those who are unaware, is the Drake of dancehall in the craziest way. Like, he has songs that he's released in the past few years from jail that I'm sure you hear at the club today.
Yeah.
And there's no other version. To me, what I compare him to is like a Burna Boy. Like, Vybz Kartell, we can't say for sure, of course, but if he had not gone to jail, that was his trajectory
Mhm.
of being the dance hall version of Burna Boy and collabing with the Jay-Z's, the Eminems, the Drakes, and kind of crossing over, to the other side. So I want to see him get that chance. I think Vybz Kartell, talent-wise, is one of the best.
Yep.
One of the best. Can sing, can rap, lyrical dexterity, and I want to see him get that shot. So I'm happy he's gonna get out because
Allegedly, maybe, possibly. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Free vibes. Free Vybz Kartell.
Yeah, I think this is probably in a musical sense a positive. Okay, I'm trying to frame this correctly.
Mhm.
In a musical sense, it would be a positive if he got out,
But
he allegedly, possibly, maybe killed somebody, and their body just disappeared. I feel like people are glossing over that, like the person's body gone. Like, this is in Jamaica, bro. Like, the island is small. Like, I want to emphasize the island is small.
not small enough.
People are just, you can't just disappear people and people don't notice.
Sure you can.
So so he is now, I would say, I'm trying to like connect this. It's kind of like a Young Thug. It's like, do we want Young Thug out? Yes. But did he do those things? Allegedly, maybe, possibly?
I think the best example is like Drake. Like if Drake somehow was in a RICO and went to the bin,
Yeah.
everyone would have no problem with Drake getting out,
Yeah.
almost regardless of what he did.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Vybz, like. If anyone is seeing these jokes online, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and you're not getting these Vybz Kartell jokes, that's the joke.
Yeah.
That he's that level of artist where murder who?
Yeah.
Murder what? Like, so I personally I do want him to get out for the music. Like, again, I don't know him personally. Don't know what he's done or hasn't done, allegedly. But for the music, I think that when that whole dance hall reggae influence in pop came, he, I think, was someone who would have really benefited from that and been a name in that.
Collab with Drake would have been fantastic.
And when you think about someone like Popcorn, who I would say has benefited the most from that era of dancehall in terms of still being relevant today, Vybz is just a whole different type of deal. And so to me, again, he would be battling with the DeVitos and the Burna Boys and the Wiz Kids, and be probably the biggest artist in Jamaica, honestly. So
you think so, even now?
I want to get that shot because I think that this murder allegedly happened in 2011.
Yeah.
And even before then, he wasn't really allowed to travel. Like, I know Jay-Z said that he had a song with Vybz Kartell that never came out because of this trial. So I think if he was already working with the biggest artist at that time when he was about to go to jail for murder, I think now there's going to even be more of a groundswell. We'll have his pick of the litter. Artists will come out of retirement basically to do a song with Vybz Kartell. So I'm very excited because Jamaica, we're both Jamaican, but Jamaica has a huge influence on the culture of hip hop in general.
This culture of music in general.
Culture of music in general, the history of hip hop. And so I think that for those of you who are like, who the hell is Vybz Kartell? The Jamaican Drake is the best I can give you. Like, think of someone who is that level of artist. Everything they put out is a smash.
Yeah.
Vybz Kartell could have 3 hours at a party and everyone would sing along to every single song. And for him to get that shot to take it to the next level as a Jamaican artist, as a dancehall artist, I think because I think there's been a spot missing. I thought about that a lot when the Bob Marley movie came out recently, of who's that Jamaican artist who can technically capitalize on all the influence that Jamaica has. And Popcorn, I don't think really is that. Shaggy, well past his prime. Sean Paul has a whole different haircut these days. So the actual answer really should be Vybz Kartell.
Yeah.
And the fact that we might get that chance, I'm here for it.
Yeah, I think that era of the 2010s was he missed basically like the globalization of his sound. Yeah, of that sound. And he's kind of missing the globalization of like Western music, like big time. Like, obviously Western music was always popular. Michael Jackson existed. Yeah. Right? But now Western music, like, again, Drake is from Canada. Yeah. And he's like one of the most popular artists on earth. And then there's like your Taylor Swifts and stuff. But then you also had like people, you also have like Adele. So like the largest artists are now not just sprouting from one country, they're actually sprouting from multiple different countries.
Mhm.
But then there's like crossover between you know, artists from every country now.
Yeah.
You know, like remember when we talked about Pink Panthers, we were like, oh, you know what this sounds like? We talked about Pink Panthers and New Jeans, and we're like, it would be sick if this British artist, UK garage artist, and this K-pop artist group collabed. We think that would be a good fit. So those type of like international crossovers are something that are like really recent.
He's missed all that.
And he's gonna miss every part of it. So
the person I think of a lot, this is a crazy name to say, is Ed Sheeran. Like, Ed Sheeran definitely is gonna have a Vybz Kartell song. Like, no, like that's gonna happen. You see what I'm saying? And Vybz Kartell's lyrics are nasty as nasty gets.
Yeah.
And he don't change them for nobody.
Maybe he'll have a Lil Wayne crossover.
He'll definitely that's my point is all these big artists are gonna be lined up to have a Vybz Kartell feature.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm most excited about. And two, I'm excited to see if he does get out, you know, how it is when he's outside, because I would say of the artists who are not outside for whatever reason, whether it's jail or health, he is the legend among legends in that sense. And I think him coming to America, because personally, my prom in 2012, there was like 8 Vybz Kartell songs playing in that prom bus. This murder happened in 2011. So he was already not able to go nowhere and still had us on Smash and Ajax. You know, so I'm very excited. I'll say personally, if Vybz Kartell comes to Toronto, you will see me at the show.
You'll be there.
You will see me at the show. Thank you everyone for watching. All the Vybz Kartell fans in the comments. I'm with you.
Shout out to the Vybz Kartell fans. Shout out Jamaica, one of the most important countries when it comes to Western music, legitimately.
World music.
Remember the people that invented hip hop were Jamaican.
Yes.
Were Jamaican.
Yes.
So thank you everybody for tuning into Album Mode Live. We are live, baby.
Yes.
It's the first ever version of Album Mode where it's live. Hopefully we get to do some more of these. This is a big week for us. Our first video double. Now we're doing the live version. What the hell's happening?
Tap in.
Yeah.
Tap in. That's all I can say.
Yeah, you should be in, because why not? Album Mode is on its way to the top, and this is just you're watching the fledgling version of it. So thank you everybody for tuning into Album Mode. Make sure you I guess you like our live stream.
Yes.
Comment. I want to see people in the comments. Subscribe to Album Mode. You know, you can follow us on all social media. Follow us at Album Mode on Twitter, at Album Mode on TikTok before it's gone.
Yes.
Before it's gone, everybody.
Yes.
At Album Mode on Instagram, at Album Mode Pod on Instagram, sorry. And make sure you are just make sure you just like following, man. Because this is again the fledgling, the very beginning of the greatness.
Yes.
Make sure you're on board for when we blow up and we acting like we don't know nobody. But we'll remember you.
Calling it now.
Yeah.
All you New Jeans fans, you Last Dinner Party fans.
Yeah.
We remember you.
We will remember you. Shout out to the exactly. The New Jeans fans, the Last Dinner Party fans,
even the Kanye fans.
Maybe and then the Nicki Minaj fans that jumped in. You know, all those people who got in here early.
The what's homeboy's name? I hate that I forget his name because his fans hated our review of him.
Oh, Lil Skies.
Lil Skies. We love Lil Skies fans.
The Lil Skies fans from way back in the day.
Wow.
Shout out to you. And the Yeet fans.
Yes.
I see you. Thank you everybody for tuning in for Album Mode and the Soundbites portion of Album Mode, where we're talking about the music, the culture, and the internet, and how those three things intertwine to create the music culture today. Adriel, thank you for showing up today, and make sure you know yourself and know your worth.
Later days.